Good evening. Just a quick update on the garden as we start to head into spring. All my previous videos were coming through the back end of summer in beak, rose window, but I thought I would just share how the garden looks mid-spring. So this is the main sort of rose bed outside the front door, the bifold doors. We've got multiple roses in here. Olivia Rose Austin there, front and centre, flanked by Leonardo da Vinci, and a new rose for this year in the Princess Alexandra of Kent. Some lilies popping up behind, just to the right of the tree. The holly coming back nicely from its clipping last year. We've got a Jacques Cartier just behind the lilies, with a Comte de Chambord just behind there, although I think I'm going to remove the Comte de Chambord and put something different in that gap. There's a monster peony, which if I come around the other side you shall see. Yeah, it's a monster peony in there that takes most of the light at this time of year. I bought some Globe Master Alliums, which are new for this bed this year, which I think will just add big globes of purple in there. With some pink, it's the pink version of Salvia Caradonna, which does great. The purple version takes really well from cuttings, comes back reliably every year, grows really well in the other beds, so I thought I would try the pink version. And then I grew some Lickness or Rose Campion from seed this year, so they are just dotted around this bed, so you'll see those with the sort of soft fuzzy leaves at the bottom, and a few persicarias that I've dug up from the other bed and moved just to fill some gaps. So yeah, here is the aforementioned peony, stunning magenta blooms. It just gets absolutely huge. So I have no idea on the variety. This was here when we moved in. Never lifted it or divided it or moved it. It just does phenomenally every year. So I probably won't ever touch it, to be honest. I just love the shape, love the size, love the form of it. Just does really, really well. There is a support buried deep in there, which helps keep it up in the wind, but generally speaking, this year more than any other actually, it's doing phenomenally well. Then obviously we have Jacques Cartier in there, and then Comte de Chambords down the back with Queen of Sweden, which I pruned quite high this year because of its position. It's obviously sandwiched between these two rhododendrons. The one that's not flowering was absolutely humongous when we moved in, but I cut him right back almost to stumps. So for the last 2 or 3 years it's just been growing back into a really nice shape. All of the rhododendrons actually were here when we moved in, and they were ginormous, so all of them dominated the beds in a big way. So I took some time to cut them back, try and shape them. What I found actually was rhododendrons recover really, really well from a hard prune. So yeah, they do really well from a good solid cutback. Here is one of the roses. We call this the Summerhill Rose, which is effectively it's the name of the cottage, but it's where it was here when we moved in. Bright pink, really stunning, with like really stunning red foliage and red stems at this time of year. It's beautiful, really. Repeat flowers really well, bright pink. So no idea what it is. Quite a light fragrance, but it goes well. Took a few cuttings as well, so we'll see how that goes. The rhodie's doing really well this time of year. This azalea, again, I haven't planted it, no idea where it's from, what it is, etc. But it was buried under all these rhododendrons that were in this bush, in this bed. As I've cut them back and opened it up, this has just come back year after year, doing better and better every year. Stunning, that one. Really, at this time of year, it's lovely. Penelope Lively putting on more growth than last year. Such bright, shiny foliage, doing really, really well. And you can see in there the early forms of a Globe Master, so hopefully they'll be as big, because I really don't like allium foliage. It's big strappy leaves and a little bit strange. So, but obviously as the grasses and all the other plants grow around it, you'll probably not see the foliage too much, and hopefully I'm growing it really for the great big stalks and huge globular purple flowers on the top. So fingers crossed they work neatly. I've put a few lilies in here as well, just for a bit of fragrance and something a bit different. Steepa gigantea is recovering from where a particular German Shepherd decided he wanted to try and dig it up for some reason, no idea why. The lupins have come back this year, which is good. This is Vanessa Bell, absolute machine in the garden, this one. She takes brilliantly from cuttings, so I've got probably about 10 of her now scattered around the garden, but this is the original one. It was somewhere else and I dug it up right in the middle of summer before I needed to plant something else in its place, and to be honest I didn't really think too much about how well this would recover. Should have considered it a bit more, to be honest, in hindsight, because it did struggle for 12 months, but then it literally bounced back incredibly the following year, and last year it was great, and this year it looks like it's going to be just as good. New addition, not yet in the ground, but that's a Thalictrum Black Stockings. Bought really because if I get down here you might see, but as the flower heads quite ethereal really, really deep dark stems, just think it looks great. So I think get towards midsummer and the flowers open up, the stems are a bit taller. I couldn't believe how strong the stems are. I've never grown Thalictrum really. I always thought it would be too just a bit flimsy in the weather that we get up here, which ironically enough for somewhere called Summerhill can get fairly windy. As you can tell, we're up in the foot of the Pennines, so it does get reasonably exposed up here. Behind that I've got a hollyhock that I grew from seed, so we'll see how he does this year. Same with that one. I kept them in pots, just couldn't decide where to put them, and they were just really stunted, so I've just stuck them in, see what happens. And again, Aquilegia coming up there at the back, which is one that I've from a set of seeds that I collected from this bed over here. So when we moved in, there was a giant shrub, not quite sure what it was actually, but a giant shrub in the middle of this bed that just dominated everything, full of spines. It was a horrible thing. We dug it out, cleared it out, planted up that bed, but after we removed it, all of the bluebells just started appearing. So this bed now in spring is full of bluebells, full of Aquilegia, etc., just popping up all over the place. And obviously another rhododendron there that's not yet flowering, but I'm hoping will do soon. But as we just get back to this bed, we've got Summer Romance here. Probably one of my favourite purchases, that I think. The rose is stunning, foliage is really healthy, love the contrast in the leaves, love the fragrance, etc. One of my favourite roses, that one. Grows really well, takes pretty well from cuttings as well, so if you want to multiply your stock then it's a good option. We've got Bliss Parfuma back here as well, probably goes hand in hand with Summer Romance really, an incredible rose, but it's probably in the wrong place. So I think I'll see how it grows this year, but I think next year it probably wants moving. Just can't really appreciate the fragrance, but I do love that rose, so it'll definitely be staying. I've got a few more Lychnis here, some sweet peas. I've only put them in this weekend. I'm going to try and train them up the fence and kind of along the fence a little bit. Appreciate that's probably not the best idea, but we shall see what we get. I've got some bamboo canes to drive it alongside the fence stakes to give it a little bit of height if I need to. And then here, this is a Kordes rose, Rose and Fascination it's called. Whether that'll focus or not is probably irrelevant to whether you can read my handwriting. It's probably more prominent, but yeah. but it's struggled, so I don't know what it is, but it keeps getting growth and then that growth dies back, and I'm not sure why. So I don't know whether it's just susceptible to frost. Perhaps somebody can elude me on that one. This bit's okay. I do like the flower, but I don't like it enough to keep if it keeps dying back like that. So we shall see how it does. And then obviously Olivia Rose Austin there from the back, Leonardo da Vinci, and another rhododendron here. Hopefully will flower next year along with his friend here. That we've all just one huge bush. All three of these were grown into each other and taking over this whole bed. So yeah, I'd like to think they come back and do really, really well. A quick update on the other beds, but I'll do a more in-depth video on these. So the box liner hedge on the front here, growing in quite nicely now. I think we're fairly well exposed enough out here to potentially not suffer as badly as some of the more widely stated box plants seem to do that you see around in the gardens around the UK. So we shall see, but it's doing well so far. It was tiny cuttings, really. I bought them really, really small. Clipped them for the first time last year, and they seem to be filling out. This one got trampled by a Labrador that was keen to get into the beds and hasn't really recovered, so I might need to replace it at some point. Got Claire Austin just starting to kick into life up this wall with a blue clematis romping up inside of it as well. And Desdemona there, moved her actually just last year, so she was terrible last year. I'm really hoping that she'll catch right up to the bench, so you'll just get the fragrance from both of these just as you sat there of an evening. Geraniums kicking in, more salvia, a few other perennials that will just kick in and flower. And the theme in this is blue and white in this bed, so everything is either white, cream, blue. The perennial cornflower there doing really well. Camassia does really well. Again, I didn't plant that was there when we came, we just sort of planted around it. This is Rhapsody in blue that I had in a pot. It's doing really, really well actually. It's really growing on since it went in the ground. Really likes the ground clearly, so it's doing well. Another Thalictrum there that I found buried in one of the beds, salvaged and moved. Some Echinops here at the back that was somewhere else and was doing really bad. I managed to get 3 splits off that and replant it, along with the Carl Forster Calamagrostis there as well, which was one grass that I split in half and separated out into the beds. And lots of salvia in here, and this fuchsia Hawkstead gets huge and grows up there. And then I've got a Charles de Mills rose that I'm hoping will really fill that back corner in time, just to dominate that back corner with some magenta tones. A very quick update on here, full of Aquilegia again. Some probably self-sown because it seeds so readily. When you get right up close to some of these, let's see if the camera will focus. Stunning flowers, really. Forget-me-nots, all intermingled. I said all of these must have been here for some time, but since we've removed the shrub, they've just, yeah, really come to life. Very unusual, this bed at this time of year, because actually I designed this bed as a hotbed, so it's quite warm tones, but at this time of year I couldn't bring myself to move these because I just love the way they look. They give you so many seeds as well, so you can scatter them around your garden and keep them growing. George thinks he's missing out, as does Bella. A huge poppy here that dominates this part of the bed. Panicum grass here that's doing really well actually. I bought that from the Whoopsie aisle in a garden centre. It was tiny and half dead, but it's doing well now. That's the same with these geums actually. These are totally tangerines, should be flowering very, very soon. I think the bluebells and the geums will look great together if they actually catch each other with a bit of overlap in the flowering time. Got a Ito peony here, can't remember the name, think the tag's still attached to him somewhere, but yeah, it's a stunning deep red colour. And then growing next to him is Bring Me Sunshine. Everyone seems to love that rose, but I'm hoping this year it'll give me big things. Did absolutely nothing last year. Started this year covered in black spot. Partly that's my fault because I didn't pull off the leaves in time, but we'll see how that goes. And then I've got Lonicera Graham Thomas here to grow up over the archway. So just a very crudely homemade gate and archway, just to keep the dogs off the kids' play area really. This is the Lark Ascending, does really well in this corner, just throws up, I think it'll be double this size come the summer. Really nice sort of warm salmon apricot colours. And then there's lots of other various perennials etc in here, so they'll all start coming through. Lots of Rebecca etc that seems to wait until the bluebells die back before it comes into life. And then finally we've got the clematis up here in full flower, or will be probably in about a week, doing really well actually, that one. I've been waiting to see when it flowered. As they say, if it flowers before June, don't prune. So I'm waiting for it to finish flowering, then I'm going to hack it right back to a nice little framework of stems that will allow me just to put the wires in all the way across the front of the house. So I've planted a Madame Alfred back there, so I'm hoping she'll really kick on this year and I can attach it to the wires that go up here and start growing along the front. And a Madame Anisette that's doing really well here. Love the fragrance on this one. Takes well from cuttings actually. I can't remember the video that I watched a video with another YouTuber who was swearing by taking hardwood cuttings and sticking them in around the mother plant, whether that's to do with the mycelium or the way that, the soil and the minerals suiting that plant more as it's near its mother plant. I don't know whether that's a myth, whether that's reality, I'm not sure, but all of them have taken, so could be luck, I don't know, but that's a better strike rate than I normally get. I've got some Aster Monk in here, which I absolutely love, and some Anne Folkard geranium, but this sort of lime coloured one, which will spread everywhere by the end of the year. It's really nice. Next job is to lift this Walker's Low Nepeta. It's a stunning plant. I'm going to take as many cuttings as I possibly can. So I'm hoping to get probably about 30 or 40 plants with about 3 cuttings in each pot out of that, and then I'm going to lift it and divide it and move it around the gardens because it's been in for a while. It's doing really well. Some more Aster Monk, some more Persicaria, a little white pet rose tucked in there, and a Francine Austin. You don't see many of those knocking about. She's generally meant to be good in shade, but I've found that she does do okay in shade but doesn't really thrive. I've got some Cuba japonica cuttings that I took myself. They did okay last year, but they've really started to kick on now, put them in the ground. Hydrangea coming on, Euphorbia's doing well, and smattering a cow parsley, which I can't bring myself to remove because I think it looks great. So yeah, that is us. So hopefully ends the day. Later I will talk a bit about the beds on the front, and then we'll go down the bottom in the video, talk about how they're looking. Lots of work going on around the garden. New shed being built over there in the trees. Again, lots and lots of things to do. 2 young children, busy job, not enough time in the day to do any of them, but here we go, we have a go. So and then the path up round the back of the house there is again full of roses, full of various things in that bed, doing quite well actually, so quite like that one. And the startings of my little path into the forest of trees here, so the kids love that little path through, so I'll keep planting that up and keep filling it in. Hopefully it'll do well. So yeah, we'll finish there today with a shot of Bella